Mr. Chairman. Mr. Murphy, first of all of you, thank you for being here today, and congratulations on your nominations. Mr. Murphy, thank you. I want to share, first of all, a thought that while there are a few things that are universally true in a public service setting, I've always said that give me a quick yes or no, but a long maybe is the worst. And as I look at the, you have experience at the NLRB, and as I look at the case backlog in the day, and you referenced this in your testimony, that it's increased to an average of 154 days. And what do you attribute that to? How do we fix it?
Welcome back to American Stronghold, the place where we cut through the noise and talk about what really matters in this country. Before we get started, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a video. We're building a strong community of patriots who love this nation and refuse to sit back while Washington fails us. Now, let's dive into what we just heard in this Senate hearing. The exchange started with a senator addressing Mr. Murphy, who's been nominated and has experience at the National Labor Relations Board. The senator raised one of the most frustrating issues for everyday Americans, government inefficiency. He pointed out that the NLRB case backlog has ballooned to an average of 154 days. That means American workers, small businesses, and employers are waiting months just to get an answer. In the real world, justice delayed is justice denied, and that is exactly what we are seeing here. Mr. Murphy tried to explain away by pointing to the loss of a quorum, meaning the board didn't even have enough members to function. He also mentioned the surge in unfair labor practice charges and the board's tendency to get bogged down in rulemaking. Let's be real here. This is classic Washington. Bureaucrats making excuses while people out in the real economy are suffering. Families trying to keep their businesses afloat don't have the luxury of endless delays. Rulemaking is onerous, Murphy said, but that's government speak, for we make it complicated and slow because that's what bureaucrats do. To his credit, Murphy said he'd try to move quicker by dealing with low-hanging fruit cases that could be decided unanimously and by prioritizing the oldest cases. That's fine, but the truth is this problem has been festering for years. It's a symptom of bloated government that grows more powerful while delivering less for the American people. What Washington needs is accountability, not just promises. If you or I ran our businesses this way, we'd be bankrupt in a week. Then the hearing shifted to something even more critical: human trafficking, specifically labor trafficking. The senator spoke about bipartisan legislation to train Department of Labor personnel to recognize and report signs of trafficking in the workplace. This is one of those issues that should unite every American, left, right, or center. The reality is that human trafficking, including the trafficking of children, is one of the most disgusting crimes in existence. It hides in the shadows of our economy: restaurants, hotels, factories, and farms. The senator made the point that Department of Labor inspectors could be the eyes and ears to tip off law enforcement.
There are multiple causes, I suspect. One of them is there was a substantial. Is it on?
Yeah, pull your microphone close.
Okay. There are multiple reasons, I suspect, for that increase. Recently, that would be the loss of a quorum for a period of time. But even predating that, during the past 4 or 5 years, there's been a substantial increase in the number of unfair labor practice charges and filed. They originate in the regional offices, but some of them do percolate up to the board. Also, the board has engaged at times in rulemaking. Rulemaking is an incredibly onerous procedure. We adjudicate most cases rather than have rulemaking, but whenever the board does decide to engage in rulemaking, that can slow down the handling of other cases. The best I can say to you as far as going forward is that we will probably have a lot of what people would refer to as low-hanging fruit available to us, and we can dispose of those cases, hopefully on a unanimous panel basis, as quickly as possible. And then we will try to address the backlog by identifying whatever cases we can move as quickly as possible, hopefully with an emphasis on the oldest pending cases.
Okay, thank you. I would encourage every effort be made to get through those as quickly as possible and give people, the services, the answers that they're seeking on these matters. bring him to conclusion. Mr. Palmieri, in your role as Assistant Secretary, I want to talk with you about piece of legislation that I have, a bipartisan piece of legislation that would encourage or require the training of personnel to identify, help them better identify signs of human trafficking in the workplace, labor trafficking, and to help law enforcement by using the personnel at the Department of Labor to identify these cases if they see them and turn them over to law enforcement. The scourge of human trafficking, labor trafficking, is widespread in this country, and it's one of the most heartbreaking things that I think occur out there in the deep, dark places of our economy. And I just want your thoughts on, first of all, I'd love to have your support and your commitment that if we get this done, that you will make sure that this is getting implemented. And do you see this as a role that you can play at the Department of Labor?
Thank you very much for the question, Senator. Appreciate your leadership, Senator Hawley's leadership, and many other members of this committee on this critically important issue, and not just trafficking, but also the trafficking of the most vulnerable of children is just a horrific act. And I think, to your point, it's critical that the Department of Labor utilizes all of its resources to be put to the task. As I understand it, the Office of Policy helps to coordinate between the divisions and administrations within the Department of Labor to ensure that we're meeting those both statutorily required objectives, but also the objectives of this administration and the Secretary to ensure that those investigators in the field, the data that we're collecting, every piece of information and evidence that can be put to the task of taking on this challenge is used and available. And I'll certainly make the commitment, sir, if confirmed, that I'll be happy to work with you in your office to ensure that this is being addressed adequately.
Yeah, you have thousands of inspectors out there on the ground every day, inside manufacturing, inside food processing, inside hotel and leisure, restaurants, things like that. And they can be the eyes and ears to help give tips to law enforcement. As law enforcement tells us, it's very hard for them to see these things. And when they get tips, they will pull on the string and unravel the knot, but they need to have that access to that information. Department of Labor is uniquely positioned to be able to help with that. So I appreciate your help. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And he's absolutely right. Mr. Palmieri, another nominee committed to making sure the Department of Labor takes this role seriously. He talked about coordinating across divisions, using data, and supporting inspectors in the field. He even admitted that law enforcement often can't see trafficking unless they get tips, and that's where these inspectors come in. Now, as a patriot, let me say this. If we can get thousands of federal inspectors out there looking for trafficking, why can't we also get that same energy and manpower focused on securing our border? Because let's be honest, the majority of trafficking problems in this country come straight through the southern border. You cannot talk about labor trafficking and child exploitation without talking about the failure of Washington to control immigration. Think about it. The Department of Labor has inspectors walking into food processing plants, hotels, and manufacturing facilities. That's good. But how many of those businesses are relying on illegal labor that flows right in because the federal government refuses to do its job on the border? You can't claim to be serious about trafficking while leaving the border wide open. This is where Republicans need to hold the line. If we are serious about protecting children, protecting workers, and crushing trafficking, then the first step is to close the floodgates at the border. And here's another point. Bureaucracy loves to talk about data collection, interagency coordination, and objectives. But the American people are sick of endless talk. They want results. They want to know that if someone is being trafficked in their community, the government will act fast, not months or years later after the backlog clears. The Department of Labor needs to stop functioning like another slow-moving bureaucracy and start acting like a force multiplier for law enforcement. This hearing showed us two sides of the same coin. On the one hand, you have a government that can't even manage its own caseload at the NLRB. On the other hand, you have the same government telling us it's going to tackle something as massive and evil as human trafficking. It's hard to have confidence when incompetence is the status quo. That's why conservatives need to demand accountability. Cut the red tape. Stop the excuses. Start delivering results for the American people. At the end of the day, patriots like us know the truth. Washington talks, but it doesn't act. And when it does act, it often acts too late. The backlog at the NLRB is proof of that. And when it comes to trafficking, we need real action, not just pledges in a hearing room. The Department of Labor should absolutely use its inspectors to tip off law enforcement, but if they really care, they'll support stronger border enforcement, tougher penalties for traffickers, and less tolerance for businesses that exploit illegal labor. That's what's at stake here. The soul of our country is on the line when children are being trafficked and the government can't keep up with its own responsibilities. And as patriots, it's up to us to keep the pressure on. Thanks for watching American Stronghold. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your fellow patriots. Together, we'll keep demanding accountability, exposing corruption, and fighting for the America we love. Stay strong, stay vigilant, and God bless this country.